Hey Sagar.
Hey Sagar.
Hey, hi guys, hi Sagar this side.
Hey.
So am I audible and is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, guys, let's wait for another 2 minutes and we will get started. All right, guys, so I'm good to begin. This is Sagar, your instructor. I hope I'm audible and you guys can see my screen as well. Okay. Yeah, your voice was little low. Okay. All right, so let me start with few slides first, and then we will get into some automation thing and the Python demonstration. So this is a webinar for Python Ansible for network automation. What do we have the agenda for this session? Is all documented here. I'm gonna start with very basic stuffs on step-by-step classes. So what is automation? Why automation? Scope of automation, okay, the different languages that we use in the network automation. And as we move on, we will start installing with the uh, environment which is required for automation. Okay. We will talk about PyCharm, Microsoft Visual Studio, the different elements that we need to begin starting the career with the network automation. Okay. And then some more session where we will discuss on what is library, what is the best practice to select a library, how do you write your first script. Okay, how are you gonna write your first script to fetch a very simple task given to you. Okay, and how do you read from Excel sheet, how do you write back to an Excel sheet, how do you read from a text file, how do you write back to a text file, n number of approaches that we normally do on our day-to-day production activities, right? So this is something which I have pipelined for first week at least before we get into more technical stuff of writing this script. I don't want to get straightforward started with the scripting today because I know most of you guys may not be from the automation background, and there is the chances where you will feel yourself left out if I open up and start writing my script. See, this is one of the script. It will not make any sense if I directly go into this, right? So we will first understand what is automation, why do we use automation, the different types of automation that we use in networking. Okay, this is focused on networking. Uh, there are a lot of automation happening on various other streams, but we are focusing on automation. Okay, network automation. It could be any vendor, Cisco, Palo, or F5, or it could be cloud. But at the end, to a networking stream. I'm not gonna discuss more on big data or what is a AI, artificial intelligence, or building some calculators or apps. So we will not deal with those streams. We'll talk more into networking concepts. Okay, Cisco or Junos, ASA firewall, could be a router, could be switch. So more of networking components. And I believe most of you guys, or at least 99% who have joined this session, are from a networking background, and you're more interested into network automation rather than something else. Okay, so this is how the agenda is being prepared for this week at least. Okay, and I always will prefer giving you agenda before the classes. So from next week onwards, you will receive the agenda for Monday and so on. So this is going to be Monday to Thursday at the same time. So you will receive the agenda from my side where you will know what's going to be taken on that respective day. Okay. So for this week, it's a simple uh, kickstart, I can call it out. Regarding myself, I'm your instructor for this batch. My name is Sagar Dhawan. I have 10 years of industrial experience. I have worked on routing, switching, security, data center, and also network automation. And I'm CCNP as well as DevNet certified. And I have worked companies like TCS, uh, Wipro. Okay, so I have worked as at various roles and responsibilities as well. I started my career way back in 2011, where I started with knock engineer. Then I went to L1, L2, L3, and then recently I got into more of SDN projects and automations. Okay, so there is where I then quit my job and I started full-time training. So it's been 4 to 5 years when I have completely moved to corporate training. We provide various other training apart from automation as well, like CCI Labs or CCNP, AWS, could be firewall mastery. So we have various other streams that we provide here in Network Journey. Okay, so that was a brief intro about me, and let's move further. Okay, so before we get started with this slide, I will let you guys to tell me where you come from, what you expect from this batch, and are you from a networking background, or are you totally lost and just joined because you had this opportunity to take this session? So guys, you can lift your hand. I will give you the request of unmute, so you can unmute and have a direct interaction. So let's keep it more interaction rather than I talking out one way. So I can see few people who have raised their hand. So guys, feel free to unmute yourself and let me know your background, where you work, what you do, what is your expectation from this batch.
Hey Sagar, hi. Myself Pavan. I'm working as a telephony engineer on most of the Cisco devices and Cisco products. So I'm interested to learn about the automation that can be done in Cisco IOS perspective on on the call managers and the voice gateway routers and analog gateway routers and all.
Okay, yeah, got it, Pawan.
Thank you.
Hi sir, this is Sandeep here. This is Sandeep,
Hi, Sandeep.
myself. I was working for Microchip. Now I have moved to Chip, my Cisco. Basically, I am a firmware validation engineer, where we are working on different M5 servers of platforms and Windows 2011 versions, which is going to be launched. We are working on those different firmwares and different interfaces we are working. And coming to the network connectivity, we are just working on the BMC team to make sure that how the connections are going on. As of I am doing this, I just want to understand how this internet IPv4 protocols and I am running Python batch scripts for firmware validations and all. So I just want to know in detail how the things flow in detail.
Hi, my name is Sajad. So I'm working as a network engineer for eHealth from past 5, 6 years now. So the challenge we have currently is managing the network, especially, we have like hundreds of routers and switches. So it really gets cumbersome to change the password. Like we have a policy to change the password, admin password or local admin password for every 3 months. So it really gets cumbersome to make those changes, like logging into each and every device every few months. So that's why, and other stuff like troubleshooting also. So I'm mostly interested in setting up those scripts like that, which can help me with the troubleshooting and making those day-to-day changes also.
Yeah, thanks, Ayaz.
Yep, myself Venkatesh. I'm working as a network engineer in one of the MNC. So my day-to-day activities are like firmware upgrades on Cisco devices and FI devices as well. So most of the functions in my organizations are going to be automated through Python. So if I write a script for doing firmware upgradation for Cisco or FI by completing this course, so that could be great. I am expecting from that by this course.
All right, Venkatesh.
Hey, Sagar, this is Harish here. I've been
Hi.
working as a security engineer more than 10 years. And yeah, I have zero knowledge in automation. Hope, no, yeah, you can start from scratch. In our team, actually, there are a couple of guys who write a script to deploy firewall policies and get the information from the firewall, like a group or group members or objects. So we use day-to-day objects. I mean, day-to-day work for a Python.
Yeah, hi, Sagar. Prashant here. I'm working as a network and security engineer. I don't have any automation or coding level background, so want to learn the automation so I can scale up my future and use in my day-to-day activities. That automation.
Okay, thanks, Prashant. All right, so fair enough background. All looks like are from networking background, and yes, this is something which are the reasons over here in the networking why we look for automation. Okay, so most of the reasons you have told me. So let's write one after one. What are the challenges that we face in a traditional networking? Could be any enterprises. It could be um, enterprise security or data center collab, cloud. Could be anything. But what are the ultimate challenges here? So let's say you have been given a file which you need to upload to these boxes. Let's say a image file which you want to upgrade on 100 of routers. So what is that task? Manual task, copying of that file to these the flash memory of these boxes, right? So I can say that one of the challenge is copying these files, which we can think about automating. Okay. What are the other challenges that we see here? Again, a simple reason would be someone asks you to give you the output from 10 of the CLI commands. Could be show IP in brief, show IP protocol, show clock, show version, kind of 10 different commands. And they ask you to fetch the pre-reports, right? Now, again, you go to one device, execute these 10 commands, it's fine enough. But when you have 100 of devices and you have to do this repetitive task, which is where you think about automating. Okay. So I'm going to write executing of multiple commands, which is one of the challenges right now. Okay. Rest, like say, for example, you're upgrading your routers. Okay. Your customer has router, 100 or thousands of router, which are running on a older software version. And now the project has come to you where you have to run the script and you have to upgrade them. When you upgrade them, there are certain steps here. You change the boot variables, you write it into the memory, you take pre-check, post-check, diff check, right? And then you also click on reboot, and then those get into reboot scenario, then they will load the latest image that's present in your flash memory, right? So reboot is also one challenge when they are given in a huge number, like thousands of devices. Because I remember we had a project from one of financial banking sector where we had to upgrade 5,000 of devices in a month or 2 months, right? So that becomes a challenge. It's not possible we do it manually, log into each box, do this boot variable, pre post check manual way. We have to do some sort of automation where we can get these jobs done. Okay. What are the other challenges? You might also have seen taking off a backup. Okay. I remember when 5 years back, we had to do this manually on our various regions. We have to log into boxes either on the secure CRT or this multi-tab security, and we used to save the session because those time that was the simplest option. Instead of copying something from showrun and keeping it somewhere in a notepad, we used to save the session automatically. So the steps used to be we log into the boxes, run showrun, terminal length 0, showrun, and then that get captured in a text file automatically. So that was one of the simplest method. But again, logging to the boxes, thousands of boxes is a manual task. You might sometimes put a wrong command, which goes into number of attempts now. Sometimes the device is down, but you do not know the device is down. You go into SSH, try to do a SSH on those boxes, but then you eventually come to know that device is down or it's out of production. But that has taken some time, right? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now you just imagine if you have to take a backup of thousands of devices on a weekly basis, that's a tedious job, right? So these are some challenges which we will look into consideration of automating them. Okay. What else? We have not talked about any change window and a networking, traditional networking or any network scenarios will not be 100% achievable if we don't talk about automation. Okay. So is there any problem with my audio?
No, you're good.
Okay.
No.
So guys who have some issue with my mic, I think that could be from your side. So please check once. Okay. So pushing of a config, especially during change window, you are given 10 to 15 change window, a change request. That could be something to push ACL. It could be to do something on compliance report, could be an upgrade. Chances are that you might do some of the changes, but then you do not have time to do the other ones, right? Or might be you might fall into some troubleshooting call at the same time, P1 call, and then you do not have time to get done with these automation stuff, right? So pushing config can also be automated. You can write your script and schedule it for that particular time, and that will trigger automatically. Okay, so this is one more challenge which I want to put up here. Rest I can call it for performance, how automation can improve your performance, the service level agreement of your company, between your company and the stakeholders or the customer, because every priority has some SLA. Okay, it could be a P1 call which has a SLA, strict SLA of 5 minutes, or if it is a level 2 service request, it could have a half an hour of SLA timing, right? So why I'm writing this as a challenge, let's assume it's a P1 call where one of your ISP neighborship is down and you have 10 BGP routers, okay, where you need to check which ISP went down, which site the ISP is down right now. Let's say you have multi data center in your environment. Now you cannot log into each data center, the core routers, to see which neighbor went down, what is the ISP circuit for it. But if you have a automation script with you, which can get triggered it automatically on these 10, 15 BGP routers and pull the neighbors which went down for you, and then you can do the next step accordingly. Either you can automate this Python script to integrate with the monitoring tool as well, or with the ticketing tool as well, which will automatically generate the tickets. Okay, so these are all automation stuff which you can do. Okay, that's why I have kept performance SLA can be improved here. Rest like network analysis, if you're building some inventory reports, you're trying to scale your network, you're trying to see what subnet has been highly exhausted, which subnet is having free IPs which you can assign to servers, which device is down, which device is up, which access point is down, which server is down, which IP is not reachable. So this is where you can run your automation script and fetch a complete detail on the device which are not working, which are might be out of production, but still it is plugged in your network, and so on. Various other reasons that I can see. Okay. And what else? Let's say you do not have to remember any CLI commands. As I told you, this is all automation now. You don't remember any CLI command, or you need not need to remember anything. Okay. So let's say dealing with several CLI commands. Now that's something you can come out of it, because especially I have seen those freshers who just joined into networking, they have this problem of remembering these CLI commands. Or let's say from your stakeholder or your customer point of view, they do not need to know the CLI commands from various vendor, right? It's not only Cisco we see in some environment. We see it to be F5, we see it to be Palo Alto, and the commands changes. The firewall can have a different set of command compared to a router switches, right? So see, those who have at least 5+ years of experience, I know that they can remember, or they know how to get the right command and the detailed output from it. But those guys who are non-technical or non-network background, especially the freshers into networking, they will have a issue. They will not even remember a simple command to get the interface brief. They might commit mistake. They do not know, right? So this is one challenges which we see. And the most important is human error. Okay. As per the survey, 60% to 75% of your change window issues occurs due to the human error. Okay. Let's say you are given 10 different change requests to be done on a weekend basis. Now there is high chances you commit mistake which was later on in a RCA, the root cause analysis, is been marked as human error or engineer's error. Might be you copied a different IP instead of something given to you. Might be you rebooted a different router which was supposed to be rebooted, or you copy pasted a config on a different box which was not in the change plan. Okay, so this happens. That is why a lot of stakeholders don't give direct SSH access to network engineers these days. What these customer does is they ask the backend team or the service provider, whoever is providing the L1, L2 support, to write the script. And once the script is shown to the customer will approve those script, and those script is meant to run during the change window, nothing else. You cannot add any command to that particular script, because customer don't trust a human in this scenario. They don't want their network to be down and then the RCA has been marked as human error. Okay, they want you do a automation script. The automation script gets approved during the bridge call, just before some days of these uh, change window, and then that's how these customer these days especially needs the solution to be. Okay, so these are some challenges which we see these days. Okay, and yeah, there could be many which you can add here. You can say you want to get the inventory, you want let's say you want to simplify your whole job. Let's say you want to have your report built. Okay, and number of reasons which I can put up under that red column of challenges. Okay, this is something which we have done it. If you are from a networking background, then you have done this one or multiple times in your production or in your network. Okay, all right, so the same thing I have just put up here as well, because I'm going to provide this PDF later on, and our backend team will provide you some WhatsApp group to join, especially those who have not enrolled yet now. You will get this PDF later on. Okay, so my backend team will provide you this WhatsApp group. Those guys who have enrolled, you do not worry. I'll provide this in our final WhatsApp group. So you will get this slide, whatever I have prepared, in our final. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. Before I move to the solution part, do you guys want to include anything which I have not called out? Yes, guys. Do you want to add something which might be I have missed it? Yes, yes, go ahead. You guys have the unmute button.
I hello.
Yeah, hi Suryakanti. Yes, tell me.
Yeah. So I think nowadays this is all about the automation in the existing environment. But if you go with it nowadays, the new destructive technology like DNA or SD-WAN, so ACI. So in those new technologies, automation is must. And if you see any new jobs, people are looking for new jobs, I think that we see the Linux and the Python and this network automation is the must skill. So along with
Yes.
your basic routing and switching. So I think this will be a new feeder in your resume.
Yes.
Out of the crowd, standing out of the crowd, that yes, you know the automation. So
Yes. So if you talk about SDN, okay, so it's again falling under these broad brackets. Let's say you want to copy something, you want to execute multiple commands, or let's say you are trying to fetch the inventories, you are creating some interface, you're creating some policies, or you're creating some tenants on a ACI controller. So I have not put them in a separate columns here, but in a broad point of view, these are something which also deal with SDN control. Okay, I have I have included about SDN in my slides, the different ways of automation, where I will talk about the different methods of automation that we can get done. Yes. So topics like ZTP, PNP, the zero touch deployments. So these are all part of the SDN, which can be automated using Python or Ansible or the automation tools. Okay. So I have not put a separate column. Then, as I told you, there could be n different ways or n different challenges which we see in production. But as in a broad point of view, I just have put some columns here. Okay. So anyone else who wants to add something here? Yeah, vendor specific. That is also something which I can put up under one of these columns. You do not need to deal with multi-vendor commands now. Okay, so that's another challenge here. What else, guys? What else? End of life. Again, part of network analysis and scaling process where you deal with fetching of the complete reports. You get to know which hardware is running which software version. Are they end of life? Whether the hardware is end of life or the software is end of life. Do you need a software upgrade or hardware upgrade, right? So we can relate them with scaling the process or network analysis where it deals with reports and other things. What else, guys? What else? Yes, if you are talking about the collaboration, as I told you, challenges are focused on all the different streams like enterprise, security, cloud, data center, collab, service provider. So these are all the different tracks where you can have these challenges, where you have to, let's say, if you want to talk only about collab, you might have tools like WebEx tool or these CUCM managers tools, right? So what kind of automation can you do here? Let's say if you're creating a meeting invite which needs to be sent to 100 of distributors, so you can automate them. You can add number of peoples to that meeting with respective to the CUCM managers. You can have a programming done where you can see which IP phone is down, which IP phone has a reachability issue, right? So these are all again which we can call it as challenges in collaboration side of point. Okay. Anything else which you think I should, which we have not discussed yet? So are we good? Are we good, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, with respective to migration. So when your migration, let's say from ASA box towards FTD, okay, you will do a lot of stuffs before you migrate. Let's say you're taking a pre-backup, which I can say I'm part of this, or you are taking policies as a backup, let's say, which is also part of this. Once you migrate it, you have to do some post-check analysis, whether you have all the uh, policies back or your routing is fine, right? So you will capture some CLI commands. So which is again part of, let's say, creating reports, taking backup, rebooting, could be the image upgrade. All right. So these are some challenges which we just discussed in last 10-15 minutes. Yes, the pre-post validation, which is very close to this scenario. Okay. We can add a diff check as well. So in my Python automation script, I can add a diff check which can check the pre-report versus post-report, and it can show me what's missing after the upgradation, or what's missing after migration. All right. So that's again, which we see in our usual production life. Now, what is the solution for this? These are challenges that we discussed. What is the solution? So I say solution is Python, right? So why Python? We have to justify that, because Python is not just a single programming language that's available. We could have Java, we could have C, C++, we could have JavaScript as well. Okay. But why only Python? Why not other computer programming languages? So that's something which we will discuss, okay, in the future, in the next slides. So why Python? Because it's one of the ongoing and one of the top program right now that we have. So as per the survey conducted by PYPL, Popularity of Programming Language, and TIOB Index, the importance of being earnest, Python is marked one of the top computer programming. Okay, so this result is taken from September 21, but this Python trend is going for last couple of years now. From 2019 to 2021, Python is leading. Okay, this is a Python graph versus Java, C, C++. The last year, that could be 2020, where Python was leading, and C++
Hello.
Yeah, we lost audio.
Yeah, we lost.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hey,
Sagar, we
Sagar,
lost
we can't
you.
hear you.
Am I audible now?
Now, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have a fluctuation here. Anyway, I'm audible, right?
Yes, now.
Yes,
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys, for notifying. So, guys, as I was telling, Python is a top computer language for last 3-4 years, whereas the Java and C+ is kind of fluctuating. Sometimes the Java comes into second placement, or C, C++ come into second. But again, why again Python is one of our solution? See, this is a computer language which we know might have conducted due to some survey, some analysis. But then we need to know how Python is gonna be a favorite for us, for network automation people. Okay, for networking background. Why not we take Java or C, C++ and get this whole thing done? There used to be a scenario where we used to do automation on basis of Java. I have seen script written on Java, network automation script, but then those are very tough, or I can say complex to understand. Also, they are they are very huge number of lines of commands that you need to write, or huge lines of scripting that you make use of if you go with Java or C++. So in short, Python is lightweight, easy to understand program. That is the most important aspect of Python, why it's booming in the networking industry. Okay. Automation is not new now. No, automation wasn't new. We had Java, C, C++, which we had tried to automate it. But then, learning point of view for a network engineer who is more into networking, and you do not uh, you cannot expect a network full-time network engineer to learn a computer language and then try to automate something. So this was a huge challenge so far. But then Python is a lightweight, easy to understand program. So we'll talk more on Python. why Python makes it look so simple. So the first thing, as I told you, easy to learn and use. You have 10 lines of script and you can do a lot of things with that 10 lines of script. You can take a backup of multiple devices, or you can push the commands to multiple devices. It's easy to learn. You start writing, let's say, first few script, you will see that the template or the structure of these scripts are gonna be very identical to the next script. Okay, so let's say I have one script which is used to take show IP int brief. Now I will write one more script. Let's say that is to deal with Juno's box, where I have to, let's say I have to take interface config itself. Now, don't think that I have to write bunch of different coding because they are from Cisco or they are from Juno's. They will be very identical. The script will be very identical with only 5 to 10% of changes. This is one question where a lot of students ask me, you are focusing on Cisco. What if I have my environment where I have requirement to automate Palo Alto? Will it cover Palo Alto? So guys, with 5 to 10% of changes, you can write your, or whatever you have the Cisco script with you can convert it into Palo Alto script. I'll also give you one kind of a live demo. So if you see here on my tool, so this is one script which I have written for IPsec site-to-site configuration. Okay, this could be for Cisco or Junos, or could be for any vendor. And at the same time, I also have one very simple script which is focused to the Palo Alto firewall. Now, let's say this same script, if I want to make it compatible with a Cisco device, I just go here. I just say this is a Cisco iOS. I will change the IP accordingly. Let's say my Cisco device is located at .34. I will change my command. Now my command would be show IP in brief, and then I'm good to run the script. Now this is a script for a Cisco oriented boxes. If I just showed you the original script, then this was related to Palo Alto script. So you become a jack of one programming language, Python, and then you can replicate this knowledge into security domain or collab domain or enterprise or data center. There's n number of rooms available here, where you can use them. And why I'm telling this is because Python is lightweight, easy to understand program. So when you have a script with you, you can then do necessary modification, get it compatible with any other platform. Could be cloud, or could be SDN controllers. I'll talk about SDN as well, why we need SDN and how do you automate, what are these libraries. So we will go step by step. What else? It's a mature and supportive Python community. It's been 30 plus years Python into industry, but it was never considered as a top programming languages, because Java and C++, and along with these two, there were other more which used to rule the programming languages. Python used to be always within 10, but not within 5 in the list. Okay, but now it's totally different. Once the power of Python was being introduced in various domain, apart from networking as well, now Python is a complete ruler of the top computer language list. And it's 30 years, so you expect a lot of developers now, a lot of apps developed now. So let's say it's like your Android versus iOS. The more mature these platforms get into, you will see more number of apps coming into, more number of bug fixes, more number of vulnerability issues that get fixed up, more number of updates, right? And that keeps your device healthy and safe. So this is what I wanted to say. Second important thing, apart from that, it's been 30 plus year, it has a support from top leaders now. So if you know that once upon a time, PHP, Java, C, C++, they were backed by top companies. Like, let's say PHP was backed by uh, Oracle, or let's say Java was a huge thing in some of the top companies, right? So nowadays, Python is hugely backed by Facebook, Amazon's AWS, and Google. And you know that these are some topmost company. And if they are running their environment on Python, so no doubt most of other people will be forced to go into Python, right? So what I want to tell here is the Python is a favorite for a lot of top industries now. And that is why all the other service provider or other stakeholders, customers, or the Python, that's one reason why Python has a good support these days from these top companies, and why Python is a favorite or leading the chart now. 100 of libraries because it's 30 plus. When something gets more and more mature, the full stack developers are increasing daily basis. There could be a lot of freelancer people who develop some libraries, who develop some apps, right? They all put them under these Python community. And remember, these Python community are free and open source. So you will see a lot of people are dedicating on this community. So that's one more reason why companies adopt Python these days, because they get always an updated product rather than something which is not getting updated for last 6 to 1 year. You never want to use them. That could have some vulnerability issues, or that could have some loopholes, right? So you do not need some outdated apps or outdated languages now. So Python is one reason why we want this. Versatile, efficiency, reliability, speed. It's a lightweight program. Definitely can go with multi vendors. Efficient enough. You have a provision of integrating other data parsing languages here, like test, FSM, or if you have heard about JSON. So these are different data parsing language, which makes Python more efficient. It's reliable because Python works over on SSH 22, or you can have them over on HTTPS port 80, 443, HTTP. Okay. They can also run over on SNMP. They can also run over on Telnet, but Telnet is no more a secure protocol, so I don't want to include Telnet, right? So Python do not have their own way to talk to the boxes. They rely on SSH. SSH is that secure thing which you have access to the boxes, right? So it's more secure now. It's not that there could be some loophole between your Python script and the network boxes, right? So this is how they work. First choice language, again, they go step by step over here, whatever we just discussed. The flexibility of Python languages, you can have multi-vendor support, you have multi-library support, you want concurrency support in your automation, you have some bug, then there is a Python forums where you can raise ticket. You can also see that why Python is nowadays booming, because they have also included in the academics. Okay, so people from engineering background or the computer science background, they see Python as one of their topic subject. Earlier, it wasn't the scenario. Earlier, you had C, C++ on Java, but these days Python is included. So that. These are some reasons why Python is in such a demand. Automation, definitely we talked about challenges. And apart from network automation or any other track automation, Python is also widely used in big data, machine learning, and cloud computing. So I think these are sufficient reasons why people use Python these days. Apart from network, there are so many other streams that those use Python as their automation code. So these are a very good number of reasons for someone to go into Python. Okay, a quick brief on Python before we jump into something. So Python was initially launched in 1991. So this was sometime when Python was not even known to a lot of people. Okay, now this is the trend in 2021. So from 1991 till 2021, there were three versions released: Python 1, Python 2, and Python 3. And Python 1 is end of life. Python 2 was also end of life here. Okay. And now we have Python 3. There is drastic improvement that's done in Python 3. Uh, like they introduced something called as Unicode factors. They introduced support for 4-byte data structures or 3-byte data structure, because you're automating something which could be beyond English and numbers. You never know. Agree? Because your automation could be beyond the English characters or numbers. It could be the French, someone who is writing on a French or Chinese, or the emojis. Could be any thing, right? So these are some rooms of development that was done in Python 3, 3.4 especially, or 3.x I can say, where the support for these 4-byte, 3-byte, 2-byte were all introduced. So earlier, Python 1 and Python 2 had only support for English alphabets, English with numbers 0 to 9. But then you know that this is a huge thing right now. So the support for various other things were also incorporated. I have put a small document or a intro about the developer. Python was developed by the scientist Van Rossum, and it was his dream project, or it was a hobby project which got into commercial now. So until 2018, he was dedicated to the Python community and development of Python community. But then he took his retirement, and then 2019 onwards, or I can say that 2021 onwards, the Python Council has nominated 5 other members or directors for the development of Python. Okay. So why I'm telling this is Python is getting more and more commercial or more and more huge day by day. They are still free and open source. So I don't want to say that they are planning to make it paid version or something or something. That's gonna be free and open source, but the room for development or room of development into security concerns, vulnerability, loopholes, uh, the upgrade, you will see there are a lot of versions that keeps coming, and that is how you expect, right? When you go and adopt some language in your environment, you always want that to be the most recent updated, which has more number of full stack developers who are contributing. It's a open free source so that you can look for a cost cutting budget, right? So that these are some factors why I included these points. All right. So any doubt, guys, so far before I jump to the next slide?
Nope.
Okay. Are we good? Are you guys with me, or are you guys?
No, we are with you.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the ways of automation. Now we are moving into network automation. So what are the different ways of automation that you think of, or you might know, or you might have already done so far? So anyone who wants to call out some names?
We used to use a tickle for the automate the testing or automate the migration.
Which tool?
TCL scripts.
Okay. Okay, fine.
We used EEM.
Yeah, so that was what I was going to write. This is event applet manager. This was a big time, and nowadays they are part of your CCNP paper as well, but I can say just as like 5%. So we used to create some event script, and we used to put them under the devices, Cisco devices. And whenever that event occurs, this gets triggered up. And then it can send email, it can send notification, it can do the set of action that is being asked to do. Let's say if an interface went down, FA0/0, which was your ISP phasing interface. What this does is, it's gonna get this triggered automatically. It is being assigned to do something. If this happens, it will go to interface, it will do no shutdown, it will come out, it will send a email notification. Okay, so this is very small automation, 5 to 10%. Nowadays it's in CCNP enterprise. Earlier it used to be in the CCI level as well, but nowadays you will not see in CCI level. What else can I write here apart from EEM? So one definitely we checked on Python, right? So do we have any other modules that can be written here along with Python? So yes, I can. Yeah, I can say Ansible, or Python have different modules like NetMiko or Nornia, so which is again a part of Python automation. And the last one, what I can say is a trend now, is your API way of automating. Application Programming Interface. And these two are widely used. These two are huge these days. Python Ansible automation and the API method of automation. We will be covering both of this aspect in this batch. So I will start initially with Python, then its libraries. We have different libraries here in scenarios like Python. We have different modules or libraries that we will discuss. We will start with NetMiko, then we'll go towards NEPAM. We have PyNTC. We go towards Norneo. We go towards Scraply. So these are all your CLI method of automating using Python. And then we will go towards the API method, where we will discuss on the RESTconf API method. We have netconf. So API automation can be done over on two methods. One is via your Python plus its library, that is from this list, or you can use some tools like Postman, which is more like a graphical method. Okay, so you guys will see both of these approaches in this course. Scapy is another module which I can put up here. So we have Scapy as well. We have Scapy, we have sub process. I will give some examples over on pandas. So these are module. I know you guys may not know what is module, why we use them. We will discuss about them. And from API point of view, it would be RESTconf, netconf. I will show you both the examples. One is using Python and a relevant library to carry this API automation, plus the postman method, which is more like the graphical interface. So in the next few slides are just about the different ways. As I told you, the first method is embedded event manager. This is one dummy script which I have put so that I could show you. And the ask here was, if this interface goes down, then basically go to conf mode, enter into that interface, put a no shutdown, and then send a automated email. But this is again a kind of something which you need to enable on every router. These are locally significant. It's not something that you cannot run on 100 of devices automatically. You have to log into 100 boxes and run this, or you have to run some cron job on some Linux where you can automate it. But again, this is now gone. This trend is decreasing. They have in CCNP 5%, but yes, the next Cisco revamp of certification might be they remove totally CLI, totally remove the EEM way of automating, as they have been out now. Okay, so Python is something which is trending, or Ansible, both are what something trending. So second way of automation, Ansible, Nornier, Python with other modules. This is one script from Python. As I told you, easy to learn, easy to write, lightweight, reliable, security concern. So they all work on port 22 TCP. They are multi-vendor. If this is Cisco iOS, that means it's relevant to Cisco box. If I want to make this Junos, I will just put it as Junos or whatever device type it is. I can secure or encrypt my credentials and username. Let's say I'm typing username and password, and there is someone who is standing next to me, and I don't want him to see my password. I cannot tell him to look around or look away. But yes, I can make a way that whatever I type on my screen is not visible to him. So what happens here is whatever I type, they get encrypted in a asterisk symbol, or he don't see what's being typed. So these are all from security concerns. I'm writing the script to take show IP int brief output. Now you can do a lot of enhancement to this. You can also take the backup. You can say write this on some of the C drive, or let's say you put it under some FTP drive or some SFTP drive, wherever you want, on a customer folder. You can store it. Your script will be run. It will run on multiple devices. So right now, I have not put any device IP, but here on this step, I can point to a notepad which has 100 of device IPs, or I can point it to a Google Drive Excel sheet, or an Excel sheet which is present in my local drive, and it can fetch the IPs from it. And let's say you have thousands of IPs inside it. Yes, Netmiko supports a huge number of multi-vendors, at least 30 plus. Okay, so that makes Netmiko as one of the most widely used. Guys, this is our lab environment. This is how the lab will be provided. So we have Cisco box here. So let me just write over here. We have Cisco router. We have switch. We got firewall. We have Arista box. We have Junos firewall. We also have a Linux box here. So you can also add your own vendor. So we will provide the option to edit this file. So we normally give the UNL. If you have at least 8 GB of RAM in your laptop with 4 core CPUs, you can take the UNL from us and you can load your software. Whichever software you need, you want Palo Alto, you can add it. Definitely not the SDN technology, because they will go beyond 32 GB plus RAM. But there is a way where we can automate the SDN controllers. okay, which I will cover during the DevNet syllabus. Well, the Cisco DevNet, I will show you how can we get a free subscription to the Cisco DevNet or Cisco Sandbox. How can we use a SDN or ACI or a Meraki controller for automating or testing something for free of cost? Okay. So from your lab local installation point of view, these number of devices are more than sufficient. If you want to add many more to this, feel free to add, but definitely think of your resource as well. So if you have 8 GB, then this is more than sufficient. You can power on a lot of boxes from here. If you want to add F5, you can also add F5 instance here, and it's all up to you. You can add Palo Alto, you can add FTD. If you are a checkpoint engineer, then you can add checkpoint. So it's all up to you. If you are working on specific vendor, which is not listed here, then you can edit this UNL file and you can make it uh, more convenient or more on your day-to-day prediction, what you have in your predictions. Yes. And yes, we have backend team support who will help you in this installation process. So you need not to worry that we give something and you will spend a lot of time on doing all this. So we have a backend team. The backend team will set up one-to-one WebEx with you guys and help you on installing process. So so this is how it works. What else? What else? Third way to automate. So we were still on second way. The third way is, of course, the API method. The two protocol which is used here are RESTconf and netconf. This is one example of the tool that is used for API. So this is Postman method. This is a Postman application. And I'm making use of these HTTP operations to talk to the controllers. So now this is my SDWAN controller. And I'm fetching some reports using JSON as my data serialization language. So we will talk about this tool. How do you bookmark? How do you have the get repo for this? I have a lot of uh, bookmarks with me, which is in my G drive, which I will put up in our web portal. So those who are enrolled, you guys will get the web portal where all the recordings and these bookmarks or the tools will be put up. So you can download them. So you will get them after this class today. You just drop your email ID on our group and you'll get it. What else? All right. So guys, what are your doubts now before we move into some of certification and the next slide? So do you have any question for me from these three methods? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hi, I want to ask, I heard Terraform a lot. So is Terraform something which can be used with Python, or how does it get used in network automation?
See, Terraform is a total different programming language, like your Ansible, I can say. So we are considering Ansible here. So I will show you Ansible, but then it's something very relevant, like to Ansible itself. So I can write it in this way: Python, Ansible, and Terraform. So this is also a big name now when compared to Ansible Python. I will see if I can cover few topics from Terraform, because our portion is so widely divided right now with Python, Ansible, which takes us at least 2 months to complete. So if I have to add something, then it depends on the people who have enrolled, if they have time to uh, afford all the end to end. But we will see that. Okay, I can show you some examples of Terraform also.
Okay, that would be great, because I think Palo Alto can be customized or configured using Terraform APIs, right? So that's why I was asking.
Yes, yes,
Thank you.
yes. They are very similar to Ansible. Ansible also has these uh, Galaxy version where you have very good support for Palo Alto and other things. But I guess I will give you some pointers on Terraform. Okay. To see this automation is keep on kind of like uh, upgrading. From my first batch way back in 2019 to 2021, there are so many modules those got introduced. The modules which were already existing in 2019, they themselves had a version upgrade. Total whenever there is a version upgrade, that commands gets completely changed. So, for example, when I was teaching 2.x for one of our batch, very soon the 3.x was introduced, and my previous batch student facing issues once they upgraded to 3.x. So these things keeps on upgrading. So yes, Terraform is one new name now, which I have to add in our curriculum. Okay, so I will show you some examples of Terraform as well. So guys, any doubt over here? Whatever we discuss, are we good? We have last 15 minutes to wind up the session. Uh, Before winding up, let's cover up might be two more things. One is the certification part. You all might be from the traditional certification trend where we had CCNA to CCNP to CCI. But now parallelly, Cisco has also released something called as DevNet. So this is DevNet Associate, DevNet Professional, and if you write one of the paper from enterprise or DC or security or collab, then you are also expertised in DevNet for that particular track. And CCI for DevNet. This is yet to be announced, but yes, this is something already on their website, official website. But the course content has not been revealed yet. So we have DevNet Associate in this batch as well. So that is why this batch is consisting of Python and its 9 libraries or module or library, what I can write here, plus Ansible, plus DevNet, plus API. Okay, so this is some broad view of the whole content. But now, like, let's say you are asking for Terraform, some people want some more approaches to be discussed in the class. So feel free to point them so that we can cover some topics in the class as well. So any questions, guys? Any questions so far? So I see some more people who wants to talk. So I have unmuted you guys. Feel free to talk. Yes, guys.
Hey,
So
Sagar, are you able to hear me?
hey, yeah, Shashank, yes, tell me.
Yeah, I have a quick question in regards to the lab. The first one is the topology that you have referenced, and you said if we have if we would like to run or implement the scripts and get practiced on different other vendor products like F5, Checkpoint, or Palo Alto, how is the lab access? I mean, is it something we need to install it on our own laptop, or you have it on your website? Is it like a cloud platform where we can get access and we can play around with that topology, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, so there are two ways to access our lab. One would be the remote lab, which we can provide you. But this is valid for until the course is completed. Could be like, let's say, 3 months of validity and daily 4 to 6 hours. But most of people have their own EXI server, or might be they have they want to run on their own laptops so that they have 24 hours of access to these labs, right? So we also provide UNL. So here is where I said our backend team will help you on setting up on your home lab setup. So
Okay.
you can add your instances over here on the option number 2. So our option number 1 will be fixed with these boxes which we have.
Okay. So is it more like fixed? I mean, if we pick the option number 1, which is the remote lab, and if we prefer to add few more products like F5 or checkpoint or whatever, we can't make any changes if we go with option number 1. Is that what you wanted to say?
See, the problem with option 1 is our servers are located on cloud. So if we add something, there are huge chances that enrolled student they power on all the boxes, which will impact other people who are using the lab parallelly. Either we have to cut down something, so that we can fit some other instance here, so that it doesn't impact other people, because these labs are in a shared basis. They are a rack boxes with 512 GB of RAM, but these will be given to a SDWAN student or a CCIE lab student as well, right? So if we put a box here, there will be definitely chances that it will impact our other batches. That's why we have cut down by keeping what's required, but it's totally editable. If you have it on your home lab setup, you can add any instance to this. So that's the reason
Okay.
why, yeah, we did this.
Okay. Thanks, sir. So you recommend to have the setup installed on our own personal laptop,
Yeah,
just
that would
for
be,
the liberty to have different other products to be installed and play around and have the lab access 24/7.
yeah, that's actually that would be really good if you have it on your home lab setup. So when I'm showing a Palo Alto lab for you guys on my live classes, I will be basically leveraging on a different lab that we have for our Palo Alto classes. So for that particular day, I will just log into this and I can show you the automation. But then what happens here, what we have seen is people come to the lab and they just power on all the boxes, and it takes 1630 GB. You know that these boxes itself take 16 GB to load, which will impact other people. So if you want kind of more freedom on what to use and what to add, you take the UNL. Our backend team will help you on home lab setup, and you give the image to us, and we will help you on adding those and make it work, and you can run the automation to that.
Okay,
Okay.
sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So on automation day, from my side, I will show the Palo Alto thing here. And similar way, we have some other labs as well, like FTD or F5 lab, which I will show for our live presentation in the classes. Okay.
Hey, this is Chakri. I have one quick question.
Yes,
So
go ahead.
are we going to cover the regular expression module, the Python regular expression module?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So
parsing the notepad files, and for example, if I have some show interface output, if I wanted to pull all the errors of all the interfaces, for example, right, parsing the output. So we are going to cover that, right?
yes, definitely.
Okay.
So give me a second. Let me show the whole course content. So let me also show you. We actually have done all these things in the past classes. So we can fetch the version, we can fetch the uptime, we can fetch what is going wrong with the box, and we can put it somewhere here on the external text file or Excel sheet. Let me show you the detailed course content, which will give you more detail. So if you go to our official website, which is Network Journey Network Automation, so this link also will be put up over here in the chat window. So you can see the course content, and the regex part is here in the case of NetMiko. This is the complete detailed content of what we cover, the APIs. Definitely, this is also very interesting section where we give you 15 projects. So you guys have to start writing. So this will not be something like I keep on writing, you watch me and then you go back and then close your laptop. So we will give you project. We will make you to write. So that is how you learn. You start writing, you will make mistakes. You will definitely ask ask us on our Slack community. You might Google it. Might make a way to get the solution. And there is where you get to know what is wrong, what is right with your script. Okay, so start writing from day number one. So once you have all the lab with you, and once we start writing something, start practicing. You can start copy paste in the first few script. Then you can slowly start referring to it and start writing. There is again a huge chances you will make a mistake when you start writing something from this web portal and onto your terminal. You might do some mistake with the spellings, or you might do some mistake in the indentations here. You might miss out some columns, which will trigger all errors here. That is how we learn. Okay, so error is good in the starting classes, so don't worry about it. And if you face any issues, we maintain dedicated Slack community, especially for discussing these sort of errors. So you can see a lot of people from my previous batch, July batch, they start writing and they start giving their inputs. So this could be one project what was given. They start writing. They told me something went down, something is not good. Sometimes they develop a script for their production, which they come and start asking for some feedback. So that is how we learn. Okay. So this is all interactive session. You will definitely enjoy the whole 2 to 3 month of duration of this class. Yes, guys. So who else has the doubt here?
So by which class do we need the lab ready by?
See, the enrolled student will start getting the lab access from today onwards. It could take another 1 or 2 days, but you do not need lab on next 1 or 2 days, because next class I will talk more on Python theory, and so on. We will pace up. We will start writing the script and we will start pacing up the things. So
Okay,
in next 1 to 2 days, you will start receiving the request from our backend team, and they will guide you on the lab setup.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hi, Sagar.
Yeah, hi.
For this course, on the Python perspective, because if you read or if you start looking at anything in Python, like you'll say, like, we don't want to be a Python developer, isn't it? We should focus on the learning things which we require for the automation, network automation specifically first. So from Python learning perspective, what all till what syllabus we should know in Python?
Okay. So you need to know few things before you start writing some script. So the basics are something which I will cover first. So here we will try to understand what are print statement, what is input, how do you read something from a text file, how do you write a for loop iterations, how do you write or how do you write the data structures. So these are few things which will be repeatedly used in all our scripting. But what you do not need to know, you do not need to know how a library is built, which could be 1,000 line of program, which is done by a full stack Python engineer and would have been put up on the community, which is open to use. So I will not ask you to learn this. This is something which we will not do as a network automation engineer. But from a network automation engineer, yes, you need to know some basics here, which is the building blocks for any of your automation script. So if you have to write even a simple script, there are a lot of elements used here. So definitely the first element we will leverage on someone else. We will not learn how to write this, because that could be a 1,000 line of a program which is being written and put up for us. So we can use it. It's open to use. We don't have to pay. But rest of the details, they can be consisting of Python basics, different elements here. So this is a dictionary. This is a variable. Let's say this is a print function. So what is print? What is dictionary as a data structure? What do you understand by indentation blocks? So if you see here, there are an indentation block of 0. So this is what we will clear in our first few classes. And once we are clear with all this concern, we can start writing this script. Okay, so you don't have to learn everything, because I agree, we are network engineer. Automation is one skill set that we need to have, but it doesn't demand us to be an expertise or a full stack Python engineer, that we start writing the whole library for ourselves. They're already present. Where do we get it? I will go it step by step. For an instance, if you go here to the settings of my PyCharm, again, what is PyCharm? I have not covered. This is one of the tool where we can write, we can test, we can compile our code. So if you see here, these are all the different libraries which is being written by someone, and I'm using it for my network automation. So I have F5, I have Junos. If I go and click that plus symbol, I can see several of them. It's like your Play Store or Android or iOS app stores. You have the apps, you make the decision what you need and who is having the more support, who is giving you the frequent updates, and then you go and use it for yourself. And then you start customizing them. You don't spend time on writing app here, because you could be from a different background. You are not an app developer. The same approach or same principle over here. We might be looking for skill upgrade, but doesn't mean that we will go into complete full stack Python engineer and we start writing. And it's not a 1 day of task or 2 day of task. Yes, you can write in future. Once you are very good with your basics here, you can think about customizing NetMiko as an example, as your own version. A lot of people did that same thing. So initially, Telnet library was one module which the other people customized this and called it as, let's say, Paramiko. Then someone came up, they said it's a NetMiko. Then someone came up and said it's a Nornia. So the things keeps upgrading here. Okay. So I will go with the Python basics first, where we will clear all our fundamentals, and then we will work on writing scripts.
Yeah.
Guys, for home lab setup, you need to have at least 8 GB and try to assign at least 4 core or 2 cores at least. Otherwise, you will not be able to run all the instances. So that is why we give remote lab, which is for 300 hours, so that at least you have some time where you can upgrade your RAM, or if you're buying a EXI server for yourself, you have a pretty much time for arranging your servers or something. Okay, so you can initially go with this, or you already have go with home lab setup. You have more options here to edit and add your own device vendors or the instances. This lab will work both on Mac as well as Windows as well as Linux. They're compatible with all the operating systems. So guys, anyone who wants to talk and are not got the chance? So are we good? So it's 9:30. I don't want to stretch. If you guys have your office schedule, so please feel free to.
Other one question.
Yeah.
You gave an example in which your previous student, were using non-NOI version 2, and when it was version 3, commands were changed. So the programming will be discussed concept wise, so that if some module is changed, then how to figure out what are the new commands, and along those lines, rather than just copying the script. And
definitely. So when we went with Nordnear 2 and Nordnear 3, so it was kind of like extra classes for me to show what was in 2.0 and what has been upgraded in 3.0, and how do you migrate your 2.0 scripts to your 3.0. So this whole session will be covered in these classes, so that you know what is getting migrated and how do you tackle them in your production. Guys, I'll put up the WhatsApp group and I will share the PDF. So any further doubt? All right. So guys, I think let's wind up for the day. Enjoy your rest of the day and let's meet in the next class. So in the next class, I'll not go through all the slides once again. So the agenda for tomorrow is have some Python basic discussed. Okay. So I will discuss on print, comment, data structure. So how many of you guys are never familiar with these things, or someone who is already familiar with these things? Or you think we should directly jump into scripting? Come on, guys.
Start from the basics.
Yeah, start from the basics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you start from the basics?
Yeah.
Start
So
from the basic is better.
Okay. So we will start with basics. Okay. So we will
Thank
spend
you.
some
Thank you
time.
very much.
Yeah. So we'll spend some time. I will show you different platforms where we can test this. I had actually opened it for the day. So before winding, I'll just want to show you that there are a couple of platforms like PowerShell, the Python's ID, or you can use the PyCharm as well. So we'll talk all this platform where you can start testing or start doing this basic stuff. And then might be if we are done with that, then I will also show you, we'll move towards the next step of network automation. So I will show you how do you integrate PyCharm with Python, take it to the next level. We start writing something, what is library, what is module, how do you write this in a step-by-step manner. Okay, so do some homework when you come in the next class, so it's easy for me to also deal with these basic fundamentals. And guys, yeah, what I will do is I have a PDF, Python PDF, which I will give you over on that WhatsApp group. So enrolled student will get on their WhatsApp group, and the others will get it over here. So this PDF has all the cheat codes to this Python. So I will pass it on to you people. So you just, even if you spend some time over on this, I think that will be sufficient for. Okay. So this is some notes which I will give you. So this has all the basic things that we need. So these are something which we will discuss tomorrow. Keep it ready with you. If you keep it opened on your screen, that's fine as well. Or if you just see my screen, I would be writing them one by one, and I would be testing it on my terminal as well. Okay. All right, guys. So thanks joining for the first class. Let's catch up tomorrow, same time. If you have any doubt, feel free to contact me on WhatsApp, and I will share these things over on the WhatsApp group. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a nice day.